Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
On The Lock Shop. What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for being here. Dusty with you. Huss is going to be popping by right away as well. We'll get you to your NHL slate tonight in the National Hockey League. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 10 games. 10 games on tap tonight. For some reason, the Ottawa-Carolina game on December 13th is already up there. Kind of almost confused me. We got 10 games tonight. I got to get an EST parlay built for anybody who wants to chime in on what we should roll with on an EST parlay tonight. We'd love to hear from you there. If you're over in the Nasty Chat or if you were listening on TuneIn or iHeart, feel free to text in 780-218-9999. And yeah, let's build an EST parlay. Lots of the time, I'll just put these together on my own. But if you want to chime in on it, let's feel free. Usually I like to go McDavid over 1.5 points and then maybe a goal scorer or a lesser known to snag an assist, and then the others on the money line against Tampa tonight. So we'll get into that when Huss pops by as well. We've been discussing the next Lock Shop Poker Series event, which might be a quick turnaround here. I think we are aiming for next Tuesday, but more details on that coming up with Huss when he pops by as well. But the Lock Shop is live, and of course the Lock Shop is presented to you by our great partners over at Coolbet. If you have not yet signed up for an account at Coolbet, when you do, use the code LOCKSHOP and you get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Very, very excited to catch up with Huss today. He was at that Vikings game. We'll get his thoughts on that. Want to get his thoughts on the Chiefs going off the doink to win the division. Obviously, we'll set up the busy slate in the National Hockey League as well. We'll take a look at some early lines. Early lines for Week 15 in the National Football League and a fantasy football triumph for the ages. And I will run that by Huss today as well. So, recapping Monday Night Football and a busy NHL slate. Sorry, I'm tweeting out the show as I'm saying this. I'm kind of trying to say what I'm typing so my brain doesn't get confused. But we are off and running. And EST parlay for tonight. I have my pen here. I have my Lock Shop notes. If you, what do we go tonight? McDavid. You got to roll with McDavid over 1.5 points right now. And then who's the goal tonight? I've hit a couple of these in the last 10 days. Who's the goal tonight? Hyman? Does Hyman stay hot? Is it Draisaitl? I don't think it's Nuge. I don't see it being Kapanen or Podkolzin. Is there a third line goal tonight? I don't know. I think we probably go McDavid over 1.5 points. Let me bring up a Bush assist. Let's see. Let's just dive into this bad boy right now as we wait for Huss. Let's see here. So we go. Where do we got this thing? Here we are. All right, 190 markets for this game tonight. McDavid over 1.5 points, minus 111. I like it. And then where do we go? Player points. Zach Hyman, minus 152. Bouchard, minus 144. The Nuge. I could get on the Nuge with a point. Kasperi Kapanen's just plus 103 to have a point. He has a better odds to get a point tonight than Anthony Cirelli. That's interesting. Player goals tonight in this Oilers game. Connor McDavid, plus 143. Draisaitl, plus 143. Hyman, plus 145. So pretty much even across the board. Nuge is 3-1. Bouchard is plus 410. Let's see assists. Sometimes you can get some decent numbers on assists. I've been using the Bouchard. See, a Bouchard assist tonight is minus 109. Let's throw that in there too. So McDavid over 1.5 points. Bouchard, this is going to be enough. Bouchard assist, minus 109. Oilers money line. It's simple, but where these numbers are at right now, I think it'll actually be pretty good. McDavid. Yeah, that's plus 264 already. And then we throw in Oilers money line. It's 5. Yeah, this is a real nice one. McDavid over 1.5 points. Bouchard with 1 assist. And the Oilers on the money line tonight. Let me just text this to the boys. They'll get up. I don't know. Jake might be watching over in the chat anyway. But McDavid over 1.5 points. Bouch assist. And Oilers on the money line. That'll be your EST parlay. I'll let you know when the boys get that up. That'll be in the exclusives page over at Coolbet. And the Oilers have been running hot, so that we've been hitting a few of these. I like that. Big Maples, and it says Darnell Nurse anytime goal. Man, you are a risky boy, Big Maple. I'll give you the number on it though if you are deciding to go crazy tonight. Plus 760. Man, I hope you hit that. Come back tomorrow morning on the Nielsen Show, and we will certainly discuss all your glory if you hit that tonight. All right, 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 is the Lock Shop, brought to you by our partners over at Coolbet. Let's bring in Huss, fresh off a trip down to Minnesota to watch Sammy Darts throw 5 touchdowns. What was that like, Huss?
Dude, that was, I've been to quite a few Vikings games, and that was the most fun I've had in a stadium because it was great. I didn't have listen, if the Vikings didn't win, I was still locked in on 720 in the Chiefs-Charger game.
Yeah.
It was sort of going there, having a great time. We got some awesome seats. First row of the upper bowl. So we had it was awesome. And for a game to go to, there were so many offensive fireworks. Darnold was absolutely nails in that
Both
game.
receivers, right? Addison and Jefferson, just huge games.
Yeah, 133 and 132 yards each, 3 TDs for Addison, 2 for Justin Jefferson. They did the Vikings Corgi Classic at halftime.
The dogs?
Yeah, they had 12 corgis going at it. 2 heats of 6 and then a final race of 6. Paul Allen, who calls the Viking games on the radio, usually I think those broadcasting guys take the halftime off, not PA. He got on there and he also calls the track out at
oh, perfect.
Whatever the horse racing track is in Minneapolis, he calls there. So he did the call for it. It was hilarious. But yeah, no, the game overall was phenomenal. And then went downtown, teed up the crazy Bills-Rams game that was beautiful. Like I was thinking I was going to have to be cheering for your Lions next week against the Bills, but now that the Chiefs have a little bit of a cushion, I might be hoping the Bills can do the Vikings a favor. But yeah, no, it was a hell of a game. Fun week in the NFL. Not fun from a fantasy perspective if you happen to be like me going up against Josh Allen, Puka Nacua, and Jordan Addison. Needless to say that my needed win to make the playoffs did not happen. But it was awesome. And then once again, I can't imagine your guys' conversation yesterday about the Chiefs doing it again. And this time on the doink to win the division.
So just to bring you up to speed of my consumption of the Chiefs win, I was at the Oil Kings game with both my kids, and I had one with one team in one section and one with one team in the other section. Then after the game, I was taking them both down onto the ice, and we were skating on Rogers Place ice. And then I was driving them home, and I had a friend. They had a friend with them. So I was not following along Sunday Night Football at all, to the point where I got home, got the kids to bed. My wife's been a little bit under the weather, so I'm doing more than I usually do around the house. So I finally get into the bed. I go and I sit down like around 9 o'clock, and I'm just like, Sunday Nighter. And I completely blanked that it was. Now, during the early part of the Oil Kings game, I was obviously following NFL scores, and I just got so carried away I forgot. So I pop on the score app first, and I see 19-17. And I'm like, okay, that's got to be something last second. So I click on that, and I see a field goal with 1 second left. And then I go, oh, okay, well, I wonder if anything crazy happened. And then I hop over on Twitter, and it's like, a doink for the division. That's just, my goodness, you've got to be kidding me. So, yesterday, the conversation basically went, Huss can't be here today because he's too scared because, they doinked one in to win the division. Now, we had a great text yesterday that said, Dusty, I feel like the Chiefs purposely doinked it just to give the haters another reason to be like, see what happens here? It's wild. I mean, for them to only have one loss and be like ninth in the league in point differential is just phenomenal stuff. They did just win close football games over and over and over again.
Here's the one thing I'll say, and that, listen, I mean, keep in mind that this team doesn't have Rashee Rice. It doesn't have Hollywood Brown. And they've been working on getting by with a substandard offense right now. The defense has still been really good. But, man, like in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, Patrick Mahomes is here and everybody else, and I'm including Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, I mean, you name it, is a step below. I mean, you think about that last drive, and I guess you didn't see it, but I mean, there were two huge third downs where Mahomes, who, I mean, the offensive line is in tatters right now. I mean, he's been getting sacked and rushed more than he ever has in his career. I think he got hit on 16 of 40 dropbacks. I mean, he's paying the price. Those two plays that he made on third down on that game-deciding drive were the reasons why they were able to not give the ball back to the Chargers. And when it comes down to it, with the level of offense right now in the NFL, when you're playing good teams, when you're playing playoff teams, you need to take care of that football and you need to work the clock. And the Chiefs did that masterfully. And to their credit, they advanced the ball far enough into Chargers territory that it was a really short field goal. Like, if that's a 45-yarder, we're having a different conversation. Like, they needed every yard that they did so that Wilson had that sort of wiggle room to get it in. It was a hell of a win. I mean, I feel a lot better about that one than I did about the Raider game or the Panther game, because the Chargers are a good team. And at halftime, it kind of looked like they were going to run away with it. And then the exact same thing happened in the Raider game. Third quarter comes out. All of a sudden, the visitors wake up, and two really impressive drives later, and all of a sudden, they're trailing again. So,
let me ask you. So let me ask you this: because they've been winning tight games and some of them in weird fashion and whatever. On a scale of like 1 to 10, how surprised would you be if they didn't come out of the AFC this year?
Well,
just because they've been, it's been tight games. It's not like they're rolling over everybody. So I just wonder, as a Chiefs fan, and you said it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter and late in games is nails. I mean, he just is. So will you be like, oh my God, I'm stunned about that? Or would you be, you know what? They weren't going to win them all close, even though they have for 15 straight games.
Yeah. I mean, we were saying the same thing last year at this time. I mean, we all remember that ugly loss to the Raiders on Christmas, and a lot of people wrote them off. And since that day, they've lost one football game, and that was to the Buffalo Bills. The only reason I won't say I would be stunned or shocked or anything like that is that there are some really good teams.
Yeah.
Speaking of Christmas, we're going to see the Chiefs play Pittsburgh.
That's going to be a great game.
Pittsburgh's gone from being, a really nice story, and hey, once again, Mike Tomlin proves that he can at least squeeze a winning record out of this season with a roster like he has, to, okay, I mean, Pittsburgh's got Philly this week, and we can maybe take a look at these lines.
Yeah, we will.
In a minute.
We will.
What's opened up. I mean, another great game. So that's going to be a test, but Pittsburgh's no joke. And I'll say this, that Charger team, like if the Chargers are able to win, let's say the Chiefs get the 1 seed and the Chargers win their first round, and that's a rematch of that last game, like that'll make me nervous. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in a year in really close games. But here's the thing. In the AFC playoffs, you know that these games are going to be close. They're going to be tight. And you make a mistake, the Chiefs will make you pay. And when we get to the fourth quarter and the game on the line, there is absolutely nobody that raises their level of play like Patrick Mahomes does. I think I saw a stat yesterday I think the stat is called EPA, and it's like a war stat, sort of, putting everything together. Mahomes' EPA in the fourth quarter is 50. Number 2 in the NFL is Josh Allen at 33. Like, there is a huge gap. So while, you look at the entire body of work and the four quarters, and you can say, man, this team should be better. Oh, they're not clicking on all cylinders. And that's all right. When it comes down to it, and the game is close, Mahomes and the Chiefs find a way to win. So, and that's not something you can say about other teams. There's nothing guaranteed right now. And the field is going to be incredible. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the field is pretty much set. Like, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time imagining that Miami or Indianapolis is going to be able to make a run and make up 2 games and win tiebreakers on either the Chargers, Broncos, or Ravens. So I think this is going to be what the AFC list is. I mean, every one of those teams is capable of winning, with the exception of maybe the Texans, in my opinion. So we're ready for it. It's huge that they got that loss by the Bills and were able to take care of business. So they've got that wiggle room right now. Because, of course, if they were going to be tied, the Bills would have had the 1 seed on account of their win head-to-head a little earlier on. And listen, last year they did it on the road in Buffalo, in Baltimore. This year, it could very well be back to the annual Arrowhead Invitational in the AFC Championship game. But even that first one won't be good. But I just have a hard time not believing that they'll be able to get it done, because they always do.
What about when they lose to Jameis this week? Then what are we saying?
Well, if they lose to Jameis, we'll basically say, I will say what I said after the Raiders game last Christmas. You know what? Get it out of your system and get ready to go on a roll and win some games. But I mean, to me, what's really interesting right now is what's shaping up in the NFC. And we talked about, like, it was funny. I heard Mike Greenberg speaking going into the weekend, and he's like, all anyone talks about is the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Like, at what point are people going to start talking about the Minnesota Vikings? I got to tell you, that was a statement game by the Vikes. And, I kind of said that the top 3 teams in the NFC were all from the NFC North. I had to walk that back a couple of weeks ago and admit that Philadelphia is in that mix. But to me, I mean, that Minnesota team, and Minnesota's got games against Detroit and Green Bay to finish up the season. Of course, Detroit's got a tough schedule. They got the Bills. They got the 49ers, I believe. And then
the Niners just looked better. Yep. Yeah, they get the Bears again, too. They get the Bears one more time, too.
Well, that's a win. So you can give them that. But it's great. And, man, just quickly, I mean, on the other side of the brilliant game by Sammy Darts, Kirk Cousins.
2 more picks.
Dude, in his last 4 games, 0 touchdowns, 8 picks. 6 in the last 2. And
he hasn't thrown a touchdown in 4 straight games?
No. And he's thrown 8 interceptions.
That's not good.
And they've gone from being in first place in that division comfortably to now being a game behind the Buccaneers. And, I mean, to me, the Falcons, their only chance to get into the playoffs is to catch Tampa, and they beat them twice, so they would have the tiebreaker to win the division. Otherwise, we're basically talking about, can the Rams catch the Commanders or potentially the Seahawks in their division? And Washington, can they get their 2 wins and get to 10, which probably gets them in the playoffs? Because Green Bay's in, the Vikings are in, and obviously you've got the winners of the West. Seahawks look really good lately, and the Bucs are trending well.
If you are watching over on YouTube today, feel free to chime in on the chat, hammer the thumbs up for us, and if you're not yet subbed to our channel here at Edmonton Sports Talk, please do. And of course, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can fire us a text with your thoughts on anything we just talked about. We are going to take an early look at the Week 15 lines. But Huss, what about the Monday Nighter last night? I had a fantasy miracle of all fantasy miracles last night. It was let me just bring you up to speed before we get into the game, because I was in my big boy league, which is my biggest entry fee league. I'd been out of the playoffs all year. Like, it just did not. Dak got hurt, wasn't playing well before that. My Jared Goff, and it's a super flex, so my Jared Goff, like, Laporta stack hasn't clicked like I hope it would. So what I needed to have happen last night was I needed to outscore one of the guys by 65 points or something in this week. So I needed, we were very close into last night. It's not the guy I was playing, it was another guy in the league, because this was going to be for the tiebreaker. And also, if you are the top playoff team and you have more points than the playoff team that's at the bottom you get the playoff spot. So that's the situation I was in. There's a guy at 7-7. I'm at 6-8. I needed to get the points. I needed 65 points last night from Cooper Rush, Rico Dowdle, and Jamar Chase. And that final Jamar Chase touchdown put me up to 68 with the 3-point cushion. That was the one that pushed me into the playoffs in this league. Like, Rico Dowdle he didn't find the end zone, but he had a good game. I thought for sure when Cooper Rush threw that interception when they were inside the red zone, I was like, that's it. Like, it's not meant to be. But Jamar Chase just had a game, man. And I weasel my way into the postseason like I probably never have in any other league before, like on a final day of the regular season to hang 68 in a Monday nighter was just unbelievable.
That guy that you played probably feels like the Cowboys right now. How the hell did I give that one away? How the hell did I lose? And if you want an example of the Cowboys of 2024, a play that defines their season, look no further than Micah Parsons making the huge play, getting the block punt, and one of the other guys deciding it'd be a great idea to try and recover it and move forward. He hits it. Cincinnati gets the ball back, and the rest was history for the Bengals and obviously for your fantasy team as well, because the next thing we know, Jamar Chase was going yard for the winning touchdown.
As soon as Chase spun and had space, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get it!" Like he didn't even look like he cranked it up a notch speed wise, but he was still ahead of everybody else. I was like, "You better!" Like I was like, "Please don't." I guess there was enough time on the clock. He's not going to slide, and then they're going to go for the field goal. So it was, oh my God, buddy, just a glorious moment last night. In a game that, I mean, we said it yesterday while we were doing the lock shop. We're like the 50. I feel like this should be like 51.5, and we'd probably still be on the over. I'm like, we'll see what happens. And then sure enough, hits the under, despite the ball, I thought, getting moved quite a bit pretty well by both teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously there's a couple picks that turned out being detrimental to the over. I was just on the Bengals spread, so I felt sort of fortunate to win on that touchdown. Yeah. I knew they'd be trying to get a touchdown. It wouldn't like they would just play for the field goal, but there was enough time that they could have run it down in Chiefs fashion and make it happen and just get that field goal at the end. By the way, how about the Bengals kicker going out with one of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? Did you catch that?
Did you see what happened? The Cowboys cheerleader saying how she wanted her boyfriend to win or something like that?
Yeah. We'll put it this way. He kicked the field goal, and then they immediately went to a tight shot on the sidelines of her. All I will say to that is huge day for kickers yesterday. Huge day for kickers. Well done to him. Just looking in the chat here, Smitty the Welder, going to be great to see the Chiefs lose their playoff game. Bronco Nick, the Broncos-Chiefs game on Jan 5 will cost the Chiefs first seed. They might not even have to dress their starters for that game, Bronco Nick.
They'll have it locked up by then.
But if they do, surely you don't think that you guys didn't blow your chance already to beat Kansas City? If anything, I wouldn't care about the last week of the season. I guess there's always a chance if KC does have the 1 seed and the Broncos can win their playoff game, that's the game that you want to win, the divisional round of the playoffs, if that happens. And
I think the Steelers might ruin Christmas for you, buddy.
Well, I mean, my Christmas was ruined by the Raiders last year, so I'll tell you what.
So it can't be as bad as last year's Christmas.
Well, and the thing is, keep in mind, I mean, a lot of the things that we were talking about last year with the Chiefs, we're talking about this year, except that they've just kept on finding ways to win.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, you're right on the whole, the weapons and the offense, and Patrick Mahomes isn't lighting it up in a fantasy world. Those are all similar things as last year. We weren't talking about oh my God, they're squeaking it out. They're squeaking it out again. They're squeaking it out again in ridiculous fashion, I guess, last year as much as we are.
What concerns me the most is the offensive line. I mean, Humphreys came in. Wanya Morris has been terrible. Jawan Taylor on the right side, who everyone says is off the line on every single play. He's the most penalized right tackle in the league. They just haven't been getting it done. And when you move up a weight class playing against the best, you got to be able to take care of your quarterback. And Mahomes has really been putting the team on his back. La Bamba guy says the disrespect on the Vikings is okay because they will keep surprising people. So yeah, I mean, I think the Vikes have an incredible quiet confidence in them. And I mean, what a season, Dusty. If you remember our preview shows at the beginning of the year, think about what those NFC North odds were preseason.
Yeah.
You had the Lions as the favorite, the Packers right there. And remember who else was right there with them? The Chicago Bears. The Bears that were going to be maybe Super Bowl contenders in Caleb Williams' first season in the league. And the Vikes were 11-1. Complete afterthought. And they are right there. Now, again, they probably won't win it because the Lions have had such a great season and are doing it. How are you feeling about this game next week against the Bills? Big boy game, and the Bills needing it even more now after the slip up against the Rams.
I mean, I think they're a 2-point home favorite. I think the line's good. I mean, it'll probably come down to the final 5 or 6 minutes of the football game. I could see both teams scoring 27 plus and another not exactly the same as that Rams game. But the Bills are a team that can have the same type of firepower as the Detroit Lions. So to be honest with you, if I was a neutral football fan, I'd be more excited for this game than I am now because I'm a little nervous. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to just be a football fan who can sit down, turn it off, and watch the Bills and Lions beat the hell out of each other offensively. On the other side for me, it's just like, it's the damn Vikings. Like, the Vikings won't go away. So I'm sitting here going, you're having like this all-time great season, the Detroit Lions, and any sort of blip on the radar, puts home field advantage in major trouble and distress. So I'm not handling these games very well, to be honest with you, buddy. I'm just not used to this type of stuff yet. So I think it's going to be a highly entertaining game, but I'm going to be pissing my pants the whole time.
Hey, one other NFL thing, and this is one of my favorite topics, talking about dysfunction within the Philadelphia Eagles. Did you see what Brandon Graham said yesterday on WIP?
Why would he do that? So, what do you think? Like, what's going on there?
Why he would say that, I'm not sure, other than it's been so obvious and well documented that everyone knows about it. He just felt like he had to say something because it would have been stupid not to address it. This is like Donovan McNabb and T.O. all over again. And those guys can't let go. They're both on Twitter talking about it again. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on there. But there has been a big falling out between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And, after the game where they win against Carolina, sort of a bit of a Chiefs feeling last week, like, oh, geez, that game was closer than it should have been. We're better than that. They say, is there an issue with the offense? And he just goes passing. But Brandon Graham, for those that missed it, was on, I guess he's got a show on WIP, or he's a weekly guest on the biggest sports station in Philly. And he basically said that these guys need to be professionals and need to work with each other, but they don't like each other. And it paints a pretty ugly situation right now between two of your most important players. And as I joked on Twitter, Eagle fans, don't worry about it. I'm sure Nick Sirianni has this totally under control.
Oh yeah, everything will be fine in Philadelphia. Let's take a look ahead here, Huss. What we got for week 15. Obviously, the Thursday nighter will be setting up more in depth. Thursday, big one, huge game. The Niners at the bottom of that division, but certainly within striking distance. They're 2.5-point favorites at home against the Rams. Oh boy, Dallas, eh? Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite at home against the Cowboys. The Chiefs are 4-point favorites on the road against the Browns. The Texans, 3-point home favorites against the Dolphins. The Jets, 3.5-point road favorites against the Jags. The Commanders, 7-point favorites on the road against the Saints. The Ravens are 15-point favorites against the Giants in New York. The Bengals, 5-point favorites against the Tennessee Titans, who I officially added to the shit list yesterday. The Arizona Cardinals, 4.5-point home favorites against the Patriots. The Broncos are 4-point home favorites against the Colts. As we mentioned, the Lions, 2-point home favorites against the Bills. The Chargers, 3-point by a field goal at home against the Bucs. That should be a good football game. The Eagles are 5-point favorites at home against Tomlin's Steelers. The Packers, 3-point road favorites against Seattle. The Vikings 6.5 at home against the Bears. And then the Raiders and the Falcons. Now, is there 2 games on Monday night? Yeah, there's 2 games on Monday night.
Monday night doubleheader.
Yeah. So Atlanta's 4.5-point favorites on the road in Vegas. Anything glaring? Anything that you think will be moving? Anything that we have to hop on right now?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I love the Packers this week against the Seahawks, and it's no knock against the Seahawks. They've been great lately, but I just can't. You know how things work in the NFL. It always works out in their favor. The one thing the NFL really needs is the Seahawks to lose so that this NFC West can get a little bit tighter, because they have done such a good job over these last few weeks of sort of taking control of that. And obviously they did that with the win over Arizona. But I really do like Green Bay, especially with the extra rest, being able to come in and get a win there. Now, the 3-point line is interesting. I'm not sure. I'd love to see it get down to 2.5. In fact, if you hit 2.5 right now, the Packers are minus 123. So that's a game right off. I love the Steelers-Eagles game, and I think the Steelers, once again, sort of being disrespected, with what they've done so far. Hopefully Pickens will be able to play. Tampa as a 3-point underdog against the Chargers is interesting to me. I think Tampa has basically been in playoff mode for about the last month. And as much as I was all happy the Chiefs found a way to beat the Chargers didn't look great, with the exception of about 10 minutes in that third quarter. And again, they're dealing with some big time injuries right now. I mean, that lad McConkey, it's hard to believe we're saying this about a rookie, but he means so much to that receiving
he's become
core.
Very important to Herbert, man.
With those other guys. I mean, the Bills-Lions game of the week. I think the line, to be honest, I think is a little disrespectful to the Lions. Like, they're at home. You're normally getting 3 points. I mean, so we're saying that on a neutral field, the Bills would be a slight favorite over the Lions?
Yeah, I guess that is kind of what they're saying right there, aren't they?
I thought that would be 3 or 3.5, to be honest. Indy-Denver is a huge game just for the Colts. I mean, Denver's very comfortable. They win that game, and you can basically put an X beside their name. And I certainly think, Denver's a better team, better, well coached, quarterback plays better. Huge number for the Ravens. The Ravens have had a couple ugly losses when they've been huge favorites this year. So I'm certainly not hitting that Giants money line, but that'll be a tough number to get to. And then it is hilarious that the Chiefs are 4-point favorites. I mean, I was listening to Simmons and Sal do their guess the lines, and I think Sal said 9.5, and then they looked and it was 4.5, and it's now at 4. But the fact of the matter is, you can't make these Chiefs lines low enough, I think, for people not to take the other side, because as much as the money line is what it is, the games have all been close. And even with Cleveland eliminated, they're rolling with Jameis the rest of the way. So he'll be playing free. I have a feeling it might be a good day to take the Kansas City defense in fantasy. Might be a few picks. But the Rams game right off the bat, Rams and Niners on the short week, both coming off massive wins on the weekend. A game that either can take San Francisco. I guess that's what this would be. They would be able to jump into a tie with the Rams at 7-7 with the win, and in the hopes that Seattle loses, could actually get to within a game of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Niners do actually have a real tough road rest of the way. They've got this home game against the Rams. They go to Miami, and then they've got the home game against Detroit. So this is a must-win for them. Meanwhile, the Rams, if they can win this game and get some help from Green Bay, all of a sudden they're tied for the division and very much live to win that one. So it should be great. I mean, what was your takeaway from the Niners game? In that, they smashed the Bears, but it is the Bears, and
I was on the Bears because the Bears had lost 3 close games to really good teams, and the Niners had been blown out their last 2 games against really good teams. So, I mean, that game was over at halftime when the yardage was 319-4. Like, that's just, and I know the Niners got a little bit healthier this week than they have been recently, but 319 yards to 4 in the first half of a professional football game, like, that was absolutely insane. So I don't know if, a bare butt spanking over the Bears propels the Niners to some sort of late season run, or if it's just you played the Bears, who, I mean, as close as they've been in some games, they haven't won in a long time. So, I mean, bad read on my part, but I didn't see the Niners all of a sudden getting going offensively like they did again too. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll set it up on Thursday, but I think I like the Rams in that game. But we'll get to that a little bit more on Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think you bet the side you think is going to win.
Just
like,
with the 2.5. Yeah.
Short line.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get to the hockey, Penner's Pancakes. I don't know if you hit this right off the top while I was finishing up that pre-tape, but Penner's Pancakes has a question. Is there going to be a Coolbet December Christmas poker tourney?
Great question.
Maybe double the blinds. I don't think we're going to be changing the blinds, but I do think we are going to make it happen. I guess that would be a week today.
It's a week today. Yeah, we have to kind of turn it around quickly with sort of a Christmas push. And it will be on the night of a Jets game. But we're going to stick with the same time just because that's what people know. That's what the regulars would know. Now, this Jets game is on the road in San Jose, right? So
yeah, like it's a 9:30 start here. So to be honest, I'm just kind of thinking it's sort of a poker and hockey night. We'll get the tourney going at 9. Get her going. Get the TV on.
Have the TV on, the computer there. I think it could be real fun, to be honest with you.
Well, it will be. And listen, I'm definitely here for it. So yeah, next Tuesday, mark it down, folks. We'll probably have registration open in the next day or so. But same time as we normally do it, 8 p.m. in Edmonton, 9 p.m. in Winnipeg. And for you WSTers, it'll be sort of a fun little poker hockey night. We normally try and stay away from the game days, but with it being such a late game anyways, we'll have a game to keep us company, and maybe we'll be able to play a little smarter and more conservative with the game to watch and not be just jonesing to be in on every hand. That's at least my theory on it.
Oh, yeah, we can always find a theory for anything, I guess. So, yeah, save the date, Tuesday, December 17th, same place, same time. If you've not yet joined us, it is a good time. All you have to do is download the Coolbet poker software. Once they get it up, they'll let us know. And then you can pre-register for the events. Although we do get a lot of registrations just as the tournament gets going, which is how people operate. Kind of like, okay, I'm available. Let's slide in on this. So yeah, that'll be next Tuesday, Lock Shop Poker Series event number 5, and it should be a lot of fun. And who knows? Maybe you win it, get some extra cash in your account, or get some extra cash and withdraw it to help with some of the Christmas bills that will be piling up. We're going to get to the National Hockey League here. Anything else on the poker tournament?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Bronco Nick said, I agree. Let's speed up the tourney. Listen, despite the fact that we are rivals, AFC West rivals, I'm not sure what's possible on that. But we will fly that up the flagpole, and maybe there is a way we can make a little bit of a tweak where maybe we start on the 3rd blind level or something like that, skip a couple levels, so that we're kind of getting into it in a little more advanced right off the bat. But that's TBD.
We'll let you know about that. Just be listening to WST and Nielsen Show and Lock Shop, and we'll keep you in the loop on that one. We are going to get to the NHL slate tonight. There are 10 games. But Huss, I don't know, Matt Vicenzi, who covers the PGA, did you see his tweet from earlier today? I got to get your thoughts on this. Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau just told me that next year we may get a LIV versus PGA Tour Ryder Cup style match. What say you?
The only way I think we could actually make LIV relevant is to get them going head to head with the PGA. I mean, they've thrown all the money at it and it hasn't really worked. I mean, they've had a few somewhat successful events, I guess, but no one's watching this, and it has been radioactive to television. The stuff that they have put on the CW, no one has watched. So if LIV is going to be a thing that carries on into the future, they need something like this. And the one thing I do worry about is the future of the Prez Cup, because I have a feeling like the Ryder Cup's not changing, and that will still have all of the the caveat, if you will, the hype and the history of it all. But, as someone that went to the President's Cup, and listen, it was amazing. We had such a great time being at it, and it was so cool to see the Canadians in the event. If you replace that international team with, combining those two teams, like the international team and the PGA Stars, and putting them up against John Rahm and Koepka and DeChambeau and all of that, can you imagine Greg Norman and Jay Monahan, the captains? I don't think Monahan's getting that, but maybe Tiger Woods. Like, it could be amazing.
Yeah,
it could absolutely be amazing.
Outside of the like that could become a major event. Like, that'd be a lot of fun.
It has no history to it, but if they did it in a great spot and did it up well, and didn't make it like $500 a ticket like they're doing for the Ryder Cup, I think you could actually get some real juice into that. I don't think it'll happen in a Ryder Cup year, but again, we don't even know what's going to happen with these tours. I mean, you hear different stuff from people all the time. Hell, I've been preparing for Tony Finau going to live for the past 2 weeks based on all the reporting, which we haven't heard yet. So I don't know, but I would be absolutely captivated by it. And as I said, if live is something that is going to be long-term and guys are either on the live tour or on the PGA tour, that would be maybe the best case scenario, I think, for all parties involved.
All right, it's Nielsen and Huss. It is the Lock Shop. We do have a pretty busy slate in the National Hockey League tonight. I'm going to give you some starting goaltenders. Then we'll take a look at some of our best bets over there. I have submitted an EST parlay to the Lock Shop crew. That's not up yet, but when it is up, it'll be Connor McDavid over 1.5 points, a Bouchard assist, and the Oilers to win tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning have won 2 in a row, rolling in here, wins over San Jose and Vancouver. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Blue Jackets will meet tonight in Columbus. Merzlikins will start for the Blue Jackets. Samuel Ersson will start for the Philadelphia Flyers. It'll be Scott Wedgwood for the Colorado Avalanche against Tristan Jarry and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maple Leafs and Devils confirmed. Stolars and Markstrom. Vanashek will start for the San Jose Sharks. Kochikov for Carolina listed as likely. Kings are in New York to take on the Islanders. Both Kemper and Sorokin are confirmed. Jeremy Swayman will start for the Bruins. Connor Hellebuck listed as likely for the Jets. And then unconfirmed, Calgary and Nashville, Vladar and Saros. Tampa and Edmonton still unconfirmed at this point, but we should hear about Skinner soon, I would think. But Vasilevsky and Skinner there. Minnesota and Utah, it'll be Vamelka and Gustafsson. Those are confirmed. Joey Decord will start at home tonight for Seattle against the Panthers. Bobrovsky's listed as unconfirmed. And then tonight, St. Louis and Vancouver. As of right now on Daily Faceoff, unconfirmed, Binnington and Thatcher Demko. So that's what we've got going on in the National Hockey League tonight. Huss, what do you like on a pretty busy slate? Think you're muted, Huss.
Tell you what, I'm going to be liking this game that I'll be at tonight between the Bruins and the Winnipeg Jets. Another matchup of Team USA goalies for the First Nations. Swayman is confirmed. Hellebuck will be in. And Nikita Chibrikov actually getting his season debut. He swapped spots with Brad Lambert. Lambert going back to the Moose. Chibrikov getting a chance tonight. Jets are minus 135. Finally finishing 15 straight games in different cities. Essentially a road trip that has lasted for more than half of this season. 15 of their 29 games. Like, they had 2 homestands of 1 game in the middle of all of this. So some home cooking this week. Should be a great one tonight. I do like Colorado. I mean, nice trade yesterday getting Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah, completely revamping their goaltending in the last 14 days, buddy.
Exactly. We'll see how that works. Pittsburgh's been playing better as of late, but I think this is a big one for Scott Wedgwood, just to kind of try and maybe take a little bit more. Great game between the Leafs and the Devils. Leafs are a plus 115 underdog. They might be a little frisky, although New Jersey's really good. And then tell you what, I mean, if I wasn't already busy, I'll probably try and rip to a bar right after the game and check out the third period of that game that you guys will be paying attention to, Lightning Oilers. That it's a nice one. The Oilers are a pretty big favorite in that game, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing really well. I think over their last 24, 25 games, they've got the fourth best winning percentage in the league. Like, they've got things sorted out as of late. They're scoring goals. The big guys are going again. Stuart Skinner's been providing some pretty steady goaltending as of late as well. But yeah, minus 154. That might be a little bit bigger than I would have thought. And like last season, they played twice. Both games were over, and Tampa won both of them. I think it was like 7-4, 6-4, or something like that. Minnesota minus 105 on the road against Utah is an interesting number tonight.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at what I'm missing here on that one. I mean, Gustafsson and Vejmelka
already confirmed as the starter.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, Gustafsson
going to be going up.
Gustafsson is confirmed against Vejmelka. Is Minnesota missing anyone of significance? Let's see here.
11, 2, and 3 on the road so far this year. Eriksson Ek is out right now. That's their one guy. Yeah. But I mean, Kaprizov and Boldy, they got Rossi in the middle.
Man,
Hartman's moved up to play with Foligno and Johansson. So I mean, they're the bottom six, I guess the fourth line, a little bit banged up because they're without Eriksson, Ek, and Zuccarello, and I guess Brodin's off on the blue line. But man, that team just listen. I would love to see them lose. I would absolutely love it, but at minus 105 for a team that just continues to get it done, I got a hard time not.
I think we got it. I mean, that's just really good value to throw into a parlay. Obviously, you can play it on your own too, but yeah, like they're like you said, they're 11, 2, and 3 on the road. Utah is 4, 5, and 2 at home. Minnesota's won. They had won 5 in a row and then lost to the Kings on the second game of this road trip. They beat Anaheim on the first game of the road trip. So, I mean, definitely, I mean, I'm with you on Minnesota. So let's put Minnesota in here for sure.
It's an emotional hedge. We either win the bet or they lose, but I'm pumped that Minnesota lost. So I'm fully in on that for a little
You like Colorado into this thing too?
I think I do like Colorado. I mean, it's funny when you look at where they are right now in the standings, because they've won 2 in a row. And yet they're still just 3 games above 500. But, and tied for one of the final wild card spots. Dallas is just ahead of them with 2 points, but 2 games in hand. You got the Jets 8 up on them, the Wild 8 up on them. Jets have played a couple extra games. So to me, I think Colorado's they're getting going right now. And you look at, their body of work, big win on the road, 4-0, shutting out the Devils. Like, that's a very, very impressive win. And they've been taking care of business for the most part, with the exception of that 5-3 loss against the Hurricanes. So to me, the Avalanche are just on another level than Pittsburgh. So I'm at minus 175. It's about the limit that I would throw them at, but I do like them.
The Kings are minus 130 against the Islanders. The Los Angeles Kings have won 5 in a row. And over that 5-game stretch, they've allowed just 7 goals. Now, they're 500 on the road this year. So actually, that line just moved. I just watched it move to minus 133. So it moved a little bit in even more in favor of the Los Angeles Kings. So I mean, they've won 5 in a row. Who did they beat here? They beat the Islanders. Have won a couple, but like the Kings have just rolled. They beat Winnipeg 4-1, beat Anaheim 2-1, beat Ottawa 5-2, but then beat Dallas 3-2 and Minnesota 4-1. That's 3 really nice wins in this last 5. Do you think this is a letdown spot against the Islanders?
Not really. I think the Islanders are maybe the most mid team in the league. Like, they are just not terrible, but not really good. Now, they got booed off their home ice a week ago against the Kraken.
And the Rangers last night.
And they have, oh my God, the Rangers. They have responded with a couple of nice wins. I mean, certainly a win over the Hurricanes at the top of that list, and then they beat the Sens on the road. They just don't. Do they have any 3-game winning streaks this year? They don't. They have never won 3 in a row. And to be honest, they only have 2 winning streaks of 2 in a row all season. So
and the Kings are wagoning right now. Like I really like the Kings.
On a heater right now. Sometimes you get away from home, you get on a good road trip, you start feeling good. I'm with you on LA. I certainly, even though they are a home dog at plus money, the Islanders are not a team that's been catching my eye very much.
So if we go Minnesota, Colorado, and the Kings, all of them on the road, but some pretty good value here, it's plus 430. So pre-boost, post-boost will be close to 5-1, I would think. So do we like that? Lock that in here?
I don't mind. One other game that is actually kind of intriguing is Philly at Columbus. Now, I know Philly's lost 3 in a row. Although, I mean, Bruins, Panthers, you'd probably like to have won that home game against Utah. They had won 3 in a row before that, and they're at Columbus. And listen, I think Columbus has been one of the real nice stories of this season, coming back from the horrors of what happened with Johnny Gaudreau in the offseason. And they got that win against Winnipeg. The Jets just absolutely nothing to give in the third period of that game. But, man, this is the old first game back after the 5-game road trip in a game that I think that's part of the reason why they're a slight underdog in this game, despite where they played at home. So I just thought I'd throw Philly out there as another possibility. I think even if we don't put it in the parlay, that might be an angle that I jump on at minus 119 tonight.
Yeah, certainly at minus 119 you could do that. I'm just trying to think of who we like. Do we like it more than... I mean, you make a good point on the return home for Columbus, and Philly haven't lost 3 in a row. That's a pretty important game for the Flyers.
You know, Tortorella's going to have.
Yeah, he's going to have them fired up. Who would you take out? Who would you take out? Colorado?
Well, probably the Kings. And again, it's a relatively similar number. It doesn't change that. It doesn't change that very much. Kings really are rolling. I mean, team on a 6-game winning streak as opposed to a 3-game losing streak. I think the Kings are probably the play. But hey, if someone wants to jump on it and then add the Flyers to it, gets you just about to 9-1.
There you go. Yeah, that'll crank it up even another notch. All right, so we'll get that parlay off to the boys. I will text it to them right now. I'd actually already started that text. What do we got? Wild, Avs, Kings money line. Okay.
Plus 437 before the boost.
So what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk here? Got a little Jets game to preview, I guess, eh?
Yeah. We got a great chat with Joe Haggerty from Boston. He's very loquacious, at times long-winded. And that is why I was a couple minutes late for this. He really got into a couple answers on our pre-tape, but that's going to be great. Mike McIntyre will join us from the rink and with all the latest on the Jets as they kind of officially begin this homestand, at least in my mind, despite coming back for that game on Sunday. And my guy, Chris Meany. Shout out to Meany, of course, longtime part of FTN Bets, has a new home, and he is the resident fantasy and betting expert for the National Hockey League.
Yeah, that's a great gig.
Meany's going to come on. Such a good dude. We'll have a lot on tonight's game, a little more hockey. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about the weekend in the NFL and the Viking game and all that. And we'll fire that up in just a few minutes over on the WST channel. And we'll also be letting the WSTers know about a week today.
Yep.
The next edition of the Lock Shop Poker Series. It'll be a fun little poker and hockey night.
Twas about a week before Christmas, and all through the internet, EST and WST was playing poker just to bet. I think something we could do there. But yeah, that'll be happening next Tuesday. We'll roll it at 8:00 again. So mid-month as opposed to late month with Christmas and New Year's and stuff. But tell your friends next Tuesday night, and I'm hoping. I'm definitely feeling much better. Well, I have a little bit of a sore throat today, but I'm feeling much better. And I think I'll be streaming next Tuesday night. So that'll be a lot of fun again as well. Which I think was probably the most fun I had in the tournament so far. Mind you, it lasted a little bit longer last time, and that was fun too. It can be real fun when you're catching cards, buddy.
I'm just glad that you're able to work and join me on the Lock Shop and even think about streaming right now. Are you back, Dusty? All caps back?
Pretty much back. I'm on the tees today. My wife is sick right now. My son's a little under the weather. And I woke up with a bit of a sore throat today, so I was in full-blown panic mode. So I'm just crushing teas all day to make sure that this doesn't come out. Somebody suggested today, and I know some people talked about the throat coat tea. I've done the throat coat tea in the past, but somebody else suggested there's like a preemptive strike. What was this? 1 tablespoon of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, and half a cup of non-pasteurized honey, just on a spoon. On an empty stomach, which I don't know if I can get into that, but we'll see. Ugh. I don't know about that. Now that I see it's just on a spoon, I thought you were mixing it into something. Yeah, I'll probably pass on that one.
I've been on a routine over the years that is, there's nothing that Mother Nature can throw at this body that I haven't done to myself already. So I seem to have developed just, and I've hardened this immune system through a series of bad decisions to make me ready for anything tonight. Rod Z's with us. Colorado, Minnesota Kings. Oh, and he likes the Panthers on a 4-teamer.
Wow, let's not get carried away here.
We didn't really touch on the Panthers tonight. And, they're in Seattle against the Kraken, -182. Well, as I said, we're going to get that in. It should be around 5-1 in for the partner parlay. But then, hey, if you want to get crazy and add, maybe I'll do a 5-game.
I know you. I was just going to say, you're going 5-gamer, aren't you?
I will add the Panthers in and the Flyers in, and just put a little sprinkle on that. That'll be the Huss and Rod Z special on top of the partner parlay.
There we go.
So 5-game. What would it be? Just out of curiosity,
that's got to run it up to around 12.
14.
14. Beautiful.
Plus 14, 18. So Rod, let's get it. And Chris G, hearing the Jets are juggling the lines. Any word, Huss, on that? We'll hit all that coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk. But Nikita Chibrikov got called up. It looks like he's going to take Brad Lambert's spot on the second line. Nemetsnikov will move to center. So it'll be Nemetsnikov, Perfetti, and Chibrikov on that second line. So the big line stays together with Scheifele, Connor, Velarde. Third and fourth lines intact. Although David Gustafsson is in, Rasmus Kupari is out for tonight's game. But if you're talking Jets, daily fantasy, props, it's the usual suspects. It's the top line. It's the Lowry line. I'm not sure how much you can expect from the second line right now while we await Ehlers to come back.
All right, Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up in a couple minutes over on the WST channel. We've got 2 guys and a goalie locked and loaded coming down the pipe here with myself and Joaquin Gage for GS Construction. That'll be starting in just a couple of minutes as well, right here on YouTube and on TuneIn and iHeart and EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Best of luck, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Best of luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow on The Lock Shop.